what is included in Table A, Item 8 for ALTA surveys or land title surveys? That's the Table A item that is for substantial features. So what's included in that? Well, before we answer that question, let's just read the Table A item right out of the spec. So Table A Item 8 says substantial features observed in the process of conducting the fieldwork, in addition to the improvements and features required pursuant to Section 5 above. For example, parking lots, billboards, signs, swimming pools, landscape areas, substantial areas of refuse. All right, so what does that mean? What does that actually mean? So substantial, that's the very first word in that Table A item. So substantial means not minor or temporary, right? So examples of substantial that they give in the Table A item there: parking lots, signs, billboards, landscape areas, a dump. Okay, so substantial features are permanent and somewhat significant, right? Okay, so let's talk about some examples of what would not be included. You have a portable storage container. You can rent those if you have that on your site. I'm probably not going to include that. You have an RV parked on your property, and it's plugged in, whatever. It's plugged into the water and the power, but it's not permanent, right? It can be moved at any time. You're going to have your cousin's wedding at your house, and there's a canopy up for the event, right? Again, not permanent. Probably not going to show that on the ALTA survey. So you've got that kind of temporary versus, is it temporary or is it permanent? And then, is it significant? Is it substantial? So even if it's permanent, but it's not significant, whatever. If you play horseshoes and you got a couple horseshoe pits, there's some sand around a rebar sticking up, that's probably not going to, I'm probably not going to show that, right? That's probably not significant. So there's a judgment call that has to be made there. But that gives you an idea. So that's what substantial means. And then the next part of that definition, if you read it there, is observed during the field work. So what does that mean? What that means is if you check this Table A item, as a surveyor, I don't necessarily have to show every single thing on the property. It's what I can see during the field work. Okay, so a couple questions you have to ask. Was I there on that part of the property? And did I have access? Okay, so I'll give you an example. Let's say I'm surveying a 500-acre parcel. Okay, now, per the spec, I've got to show everything within 10 feet of the property line, basically. Okay, but if I'm surveying a 500-acre parcel and you don't check this Table A item, I might not show what's on the inside of the parcel, right? Because that's not required per the spec. So let's say you check this item. Okay, so you say you check it. All right, now I have to survey everything on the parcel. Not everything, but substantial features on the whole parcel, whether they're within 10 feet of the property line or not. Okay, but the next question is, was observed during the field work? So could I see it during the field work? So when you have a big parcel like that, what that means is you got to negotiate with the surveyor what exactly is going to be included in this Table A Item 8, right? Because you don't want to put a surveyor under contract and then he forgets a huge building on the inside of your 500-acre parcel, in the middle of your 500-acre parcel, because he says, I wasn't there, I didn't see it, right? So if you need the building included in the survey, you should have that conversation with your surveyor. And then I need access, right? Observed during field work. If I can't see it during the field work, I'm not going to be able to show it, right? And that frequently comes up when we have adjoiners, especially in urban areas. You've got adjoiners, and I don't always have access to the adjoining parcels, the next door parcels. That can be an issue. So it's got to be substantial, permanent, significant. I gotta be able to see it when I do my field work. So why is this in the Table A? Why is this an option? Good question. It's in the Table A because stuff outside of the 10-foot buffer around the boundary is not included. So there are other Table A items that include buildings and utilities, but if you're just going with the basic bare minimum that's covered by the spec, it's just stuff within 10 feet of the property line. So if you want something outside of that 10-foot buffer around the edge of the parcel, besides buildings and utilities, which are covered in other Table A items, you got to check this box, right? So if you want parking lots, billboards, sheds, other kinds of things that aren't covered in the other Table A items, springs, creeks, you got to check this, right? You got to check this item if you want to know that, or if the lender wants to know that. Okay, so that's why you have to ask for it, because it's not covered in the base spec. Right? If you want substantial features that aren't within 10 feet of the property line, you got to check this Table A item. So once you check that box, Table A item 8, how do I as a land surveyor meet the requirements of that item? So there's two main ways I can do that. One is what we call planimetric topo. Okay, so that's where I go out and I do a topographic survey. So we can do that with the total station, with RTK GPS, or I can do it. I can hire a photogrammetrist and they will go and create the mapping. Okay, so that's one way. So you need a topographic survey. Now I say planimetric because it's typically horizontal only. I'm not typically carrying elevations with that survey unless you check, for example, the Table A item for contours or vertical relief. So it's a planimetric topo. Okay, that's one way. The other way is we can do it with an ortho photo, and then we can identify features on the ortho photo. Okay, so in either case, checking Table A item 8 adds significantly to the cost of the survey. So this is one of the more expensive Table A items, item 8. And the larger the parcel, the more I have to survey, the more this Table A item adds to the cost. Okay, so you want to be aware of that. Okay, and then so just a couple questions. What are minor features? We talked about that a little bit, right? Something temporary, something that's not significant. You know, one of the things we're trying to evaluate when we make that judgment is this going to have a significant impact on the value of the parcel, right? The other question that comes up sometimes, clients will say, all right, if I check this box, does that mean I get a design topo? Are you going to give me a topo I can go design improvements on? No, this does not get you a design topo. Okay, this is for planimetric mappings for substantial features. Okay, if you want a design topo, you need to negotiate the fee and scope for a design topo, right? And most surveyors will do that for you if you want, but checking this box does not get that. You do not want to take the substantial features that are drawn for Table A item 8 and go design something with it. That can get you into trouble. Okay, so now you know everything you ever wanted to know about Table A item 8. Remember, it's for substantial features, things that aren't within 10 feet of the property line, right? Because that's covered in the base spec, things within 10 feet. So this is anything that's not within 10 feet of the property line. Don't forget there's other Table A items that cover utilities and buildings. So this covers things that aren't utilities or buildings. And most of the time, clients check this box. Most lenders want to know what's on the property, and that's fine. Surveyors can take care of this for you, but don't forget it's going to cost some money to get this done because there's a lot of extra surveying that goes into making sure we can meet the requirements of this Table A item number 8.